Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to Phillip Futures Podcast. So I'm James Ng, and today we are glad that we have KK Kian Kyong with us. So how are you do, KK?
Yeah, I'm good. How about you, James?
Hi, me too. Great. Okay, cool. So we'll start for our today's podcast, and today's our topic will be very interesting. So the topic is what is ESG investing and how does it relate to your investment strategy. So ESG simply means that about environmental, social, and also governance. So KK, what are these ESG criteria means by?
Okay, all right, James. Okay. Actually, ESG is not a new concept. It was started 2 decades ago, and now getting more popular because of the pandemic outbreak last year, and also because of the demand driven by the millennials and also the Generation Z, especially in the United States and also the European countries. Environmental, social, and governments criteria is a set of standard example like the SOP in MCO. So it's a policy that the company's operations that socially conscious investor will use it to evaluate or screening for any potential investment opportunity. So for the environmental criteria, it will consider how a company using the natural resources and whether it is user friendly or will create any pollution to the planet. And also for social criteria, it will examine how it manage the relationship between the employees, its suppliers, customers, and also the social communities. While for the governance, it will deal with the company leadership, executive pay, audits and internal control, or internal stakeholders. And in recent years, investors are increasingly applying these non-financial factors as part of their analysis process to identify any material risks and also any growth potential opportunities. ESG criteria is not a commonly part of the mandatory financial reporting, but we have seen now they are getting more and more companies which would like to disclose it in their annual report or in a standalone sustainability report for investor preferences. Institutions like the Sustainability Accounting Standard Board, SASB, the Global Reporting Initiative, GRI, and the Task Force of Climate-Related Financial Disclosures, TCFD, are working closely and working hard to form the ESG standard and define materially to facilitate the incorporation of these factors into the investment process.
Okay, thanks for the answering for these questions, KK. Yeah, so ESG is very new for me. And also I believe that not many of the people know about this ESG. And thank you for a good start to have explanations about what is ESG. So how this ESG criteria works actually? Yeah.
Okay, as I mentioned, the environmental is E. So the criteria may include a company energy use, waste pollution, natural resources conservation, and treatments of animals. So the criteria can also be used in evaluating any environmental risk a company may face and how the company is managing those risks. So I can share you an example here. Um, Nike, okay, is a company that meet the environmental criteria of ESG, and the company is the leader in environmental dedication, and it has a chief sustainability officer that oversee the whole environmental efforts. Its products were developed by the environmental sustainability in mind, and also the company has signed on the coalitions of companies called RE100, aim to source 100% renewable energy across its operation by 2025. So there are more and interesting information. So investor, if they are interested, they can file it in the Nike latest sustainability report, which the report is preparing by using the global ESG standard. And also it provides a very good examples and valuable data for ESG investor which should look for. For the social criteria, is more about the company business relationship. So how the company it work with its suppliers, are the company hold the same value with the suppliers? Does the company donate a percentage of its profit to for charity, or do the company's working condition is high grades for its employers' health and safety, and are other stakeholders interested taken into account? So another good example I can share here is the Accentures, which listed in NYSE, New York Stock Exchange. So this company actually has an admirable workplace approach, earning it a spot of Fortune list of the best companies to work for 11 years. So Accentures pay close attention to diversify and inclusion in the workforce. The company plans to improve its workplace by gender ratio with a goal of 50% female and 50% male by the end of 2025. So another one is with regards of the governance. Investor may want to know that a company is uses accurate transparency matters, that stakeholders are given an opportunity to vote on the important issue, and also without any conflict of interest with the board members. Don't use political contributions to obtain unduly favorable treatments, or of course, don't engage in illegal practice. So this is for the governance.
I see. Okay, thank you, KK. Yeah, so at least we're able to know that this ESG actually will maybe create some value or create a value to the company. And so actually, how investor able to like apply this ESG investing for their investment strategy? And is it why? I mean, why it is so very important to today's investment? Yeah, can you explain to us? Yeah.
Okay, this is very good question, James. Okay, investors now are more looking for on the business that with very strong ESG practices, which has been driving growth, which we can see there's a driving the growth of ESG funds, especially in ETF. In recent years, that they are regarded being more resilient and sustainable in the long term. But it was unprecedented disruption brought by the COVID-19 outbreak. So it already speed up the segment growth like never happened before. As investors looking for sustainable business model that can be better withstand the market shock and also for any other crisis. The increasing in realization that sound ESG practice are no longer something nice to have, and it's sooner will become must-have item in one day. So, however, it is very difficult for individual investor to assess or to evaluate this kind of ESG approach, because usually this kind of information uh, will be prepared by research firm, and also they will roll out a ESG frameworks with better suit for their investment strategy, and the standard could be uh, different with another. So which means fund manager A will use different ESG frameworks to form their portfolio compared to fund manager B. But investor can take those ESG thematic funds, their top holding company, as the benchmark for them to form their own investment strategy. I will giving you some top performing funds that bet heavily on traditional low emission sector like technology and financial service companies. For example, like those Microsoft, Apple Incorporation, Alphabets, and those credit card company like Visa and Mastercard Incorporation. So this is a very popular counter that ESG funds will invest in. And the good news is Phillip Futures to provide this investment opportunity for the above mentioned companies, while our CFD trading platform, which allow our client to invest this company by without owning the actual share at, at a fraction of the capital required as the company to use as compared to a company which need to use a huge capital to buy the stock outright. This is because our initial margin as low as 20%, and the minimum quantity is investor can invest as minimum as 1 unit for US share CFD.
Okay, thanks for the answer, KK. Yeah, so just do a short advertisement to you guys. So if you guys got traded or got observed about the US market, like what KK mentioned just now, we now offer CFDs. Yeah, so you can try to contact us. Okay, want to know more about CFD, right? You can call us. Okay, we can explain to you what CFD is. Okay, so thanks for the tips lah. Okay, like just now, KK, you mentioned some of the stock is related to this ESG counter. Okay, yeah, and so last question for you, KK. So what are the potential key risks or challenges investors should consider when they are using this ESG criteria to make their decisions in their investment?
Well, good questions, James. We must before we invest in any stock, we must know about the risk before we decide whether the ESG criteria is suitable for yourselves for the stock screening purpose or not. So traditionally, there are some argue that taking ESG approved could meaning sacrifice return, whereby investor will limit themselves when they're just buying those company with a strong ESG practice. Besides that, since now there are more younger people, they are invest in ESG counters, so they're all moving. But when and most of them are never experienced any major economic downturn, and so their investment strategies remain untested. In the event that if we face any recessions, the ESG related sector could take a significant hit, especially if the youngest investor sold off their ESG investment by under pressure. So this is a key risk that we have to take. Beside that, and I would also like to share, and recently, the PwC also shared their report regarding the ESG, which has identified the palm oil producer and glove maker as among Malaysian exports that are subject to ESG risk. So for palm oil producer, the concerns are environmental and labor practice, while for the glove makers is about the forced labor. So these two sector investors should bear in mind and also monitoring it carefully.
Okay, thanks, KK. Yeah. So actually, today's KK actually share with us about how ESG works and how you can link this ESG to your investment portfolio. Yeah. So every investment, yeah, like what KK mentioned just now, got risk and return. So before we entering any of the investment activities, we need to know about the risk and also the reward. Okay. So we need to control our risk. So if let's say we do not be greedy when we are going to take our profit like this. Okay, yeah. So thanks KK for today's sharing. And before end our today's podcast, right? So everyone, please do subscribe our Facebook and also our YouTube channel. Okay, so every Monday, 2 p.m. we will post our Phillip Podcast in our Phillip Futures Facebook page. Okay, so you might share this podcast in your Facebook page also. Okay, and also if you got any questions for CFD and futures, just feel free to text us or just contact us. Okay, yeah. So we call you a day, KK. Thanks for the time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you,
thank you.
James.
Yeah, bye bye.
Bye bye.